Hey friend, how's it going? Just wanted to hop on here just to share some thoughts on, the awareness piece that is required to either change your body, lose the weight, lose the fat, maybe get on a health journey, all of these different things. And I'm actually clearing out my closet because there are just a handful of clothes that I haven't worn in a while, or I just know aren't my style anymore, just don't fit me right. And this was one of the dresses I was curious about. So I wanted to share this dress because a year ago, or last May in 2025, this was the dress I was wearing when I had an awareness moment about, how heavy I had gotten, how much weight I had put on, and how I looked in this dress in a photo, right? Sometimes it's a photo that we see that something in your brain goes, is that what I look like? I did not think I looked like that, right? It's kind of that like a weight blindness veil gets pulled from your face, and this was one of those, and I was just curious to see how loose it would be, like how well it would fit. I feel like it's loose, especially around this waist area. It's a cute dress, so I definitely love to see if I can cinch that up a bit. But I remember last year I wore this and I kind of just felt like I put it on and I was already feeling at the time like, okay, I don't feel my best. I know I have been like emotionally eating a lot to try and cope with my life or my feelings or, this grieving process that I have been on or, multitude of things in a multitude of areas. And I remember putting on the dress and just going, okay, something seems off and I don't quite feel as confident as I usually do in this dress, but I was like, I'm gonna wear it anyway because, that's just who I am at this point. Like, I'm not gonna wait till I feel better or that I look the way I think I should look in order to wear things that are cute and beautiful. But I remember that was where I was at the time. And around that same time, I saw a photo of myself in this dress, which I will include somewhere in the screen. And I was just like, oh, I look very inflamed and puffy and like super bloated and very chubby. And that's just not the image I had in my head about who I know I wanted to be and how I had been progressing on my journey, because up until that point, I had been lifting weights and exercising for like 3 years already. But something that I told a friend, like, it doesn't matter how much you lift or how active you are, if you are still eating, like a surplus every single day and you're like just kind of blowing your calories to the high roof, which was what I was doing. Definitely a lot of overeating at night. And then around that same time as well, I stepped on a scale. And I'm not really like a scale person. I've probably weighed myself 5 times since then just to keep track a little bit or just have an idea of where I'm at. But at that point, I had yet to step on a scale for a while. I remember just seeing the number and going, oh, that's the heaviest I think I've ever seen myself, like my number for my weight be. And it was a bit of a wake-up moment for myself to say, okay, there's a lot of these factors that are adding up that are the reason why I'm not feeling my best, right? My clothes aren't fitting the way they used to fit. The scale obviously is giving me a number that I am shocked by. I don't look how I think I want to look in photos. My feeling of myself, like my stomach is bloated all the time. And all of these things were just starting to add up, and we're just starting to push through this haze of a lack of consciousness or awareness, or perhaps a lack of willingness to look at the habits I was indulging in and what they were doing to me and my body. But I was telling a friend, that was perhaps the beginning of the awareness, the seed that was planted, but it wasn't until the end of the year of 2025. So that was May, and it wasn't until the end of December 2025 that I actually started to enact my calorie deficit. I started to just make sure my food was on track because I'd already been working out consistently at that point. Like, I was very consistent and disciplined with my activity. I just needed then to transfer that over into my diet, which I will say the benefit of building that consistency and discipline muscle is that when I transferred that over to calorie tracking, to knowing what my protein is, knowing how much I was not going to eat and how much I was going to eat, it wasn't hard. And that's probably like a girl, shut up, because calorie tracking is so hard. But That's because I had been consistent and disciplined and built that muscle after 4 years. So that's why I stayed on track for the past 6 to 8 months and have lost 50 pounds since then. If not more, I'm not sure because I haven't weighed myself in a little bit, but the last time I checked, I had lost 50 pounds. But I just wanted to share that, we have these moments of awareness that plant a seed, but sometimes it takes some time for us to enact change and to start the ball rolling, actively rolling in a positive direction, right? Because like I said, it wasn't for another 6 months that I was just going through my things. I was struggling. I was, just processing so much emotionally, mentally, spiritually, relationally, as well as physically, that I just needed some time to get myself up into that point. And now, of course, looking back, I could have started my calorie deficit, of course, the day after. Like, I didn't need to wait 6 months. But sometimes in a season perhaps where we lack that consciousness, or we lack that awareness, or we are just struggling for whatever reason, we have to give ourselves grace and just be patient, right? As long as you know in your mind where you're headed, sometimes you might go a little bit slower than you want to, and that's okay, as long as you're moving in the right direction. But I really wanted to talk on the point of awareness, right? Awareness is the first step. You can't know what to change, or what needs to change, or how you want to change, or where you want to go, or what is actually wrong, or what is actually difficult about your situation, unless you're willing to be brutally honest, brutally aware, and no longer lie to yourself, or no longer, participate or engage in habits that are keeping you stuck. And maybe just a little side piece to the point of awareness. Last week was kind of a difficult week, mentally, emotionally, all of these different things, just different aspects of my life. And I remember, at the end of my day, I was so tempted to emotionally eat again. And I was so tempted to just eat, right? And I checked in with my body. I'm like, I'm not hungry. I know I'm not hungry. I'm not giving off hunger signals, but I know I'm just tired emotionally. I'm just a little bit run down mentally. And I want to eat in order to satiate myself. And I had a few snacks here and there, but I just knew it's not going to hit the same. It does not hit the same, because my awareness has grown so much that I can't engage in those habits anymore without being aware of what I'm doing, right? A year ago, I was able to do that because, those bad habits didn't happen overnight. They happened gradually, right? I just ate and ate and ate more and more and more, to the point where, I had gained as much weight as I had gained. But now, coming from a place where I have spent the last year dealing with my emotions, dealing with my mental state, dealing with, things in myself or around me or my relationships or in how I'm showing up, processing, grieving, I have dealt with those things. I have not run from them. So using food the same way that I used it to cope is not going to hit the same anymore. Because it's not that I don't need to cope. I don't need support. I don't need some sort of comforting from time to time, because we all do. We're all human. But now I understand that it's not going to give me what I want. It's not going to actually help me move forward. It's not going to help me feel better. And I could tell myself, Jean, what you probably need is just sleep and a really good yoga session where you just relieve some of the tension that's in your body. And that's what I did, right? So anyway, I just wanted to share and hop on here just to show you this dress, just to try it on for myself. Like I said, I'm clearing out my closet, and just to encourage you to continue to build that self-awareness, because that's going to be one of the pillars that builds the foundation for your health and wellness, right? Both inside and out. I think for me, but I'm going to say we, be bold enough to claim and to assume that we all want to be healthy, but not just physically, but internally, emotionally, mentally, right? I said this before. We know people who look amazing physically, but they are disturbed mentally and emotionally. And that's because you also have to deal with what's happening up here and what's happening in here. So anyway, just wanted to share to encourage you to continue to build self-awareness, continue to face yourself, face your life, no longer run from things, right? No longer look to unhealthy coping mechanisms in order to get through life, but truly stand 10 foot down, be present in your life so that you can move forward, make the transformation, and become the person you know you can be. So if you have any questions, definitely leave them in the comments. Let me know your own story, and thanks for listening. let me try on more clothes and see what fits and what doesn't. Bye.